Rob Blackman here, and welcome to Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where indeed it is time for Purdue Basketball Live. Lots to talk about in the next 60 minutes or so. We're going to talk Purdue women's basketball. We're going to talk Purdue men's basketball. I'm going to have a little tidbit on Purdue football and a little tidbit on Purdue volleyball. A very busy show here this evening. So first and foremost, thank you for finding some time to join us here on a Monday. Quick programming note, this is our final show as we go into the holiday season. Final show of, believe it or not, 2024. We will not have another Purdue Basketball Live show until January the 6th of 2025. How crazy is it to say that? January 6th, 2025. That's the next coach's show. Purdue Basketball Live show. Creature of habit there, that we will have here on the radio network, so please make a note of that for those joining us tonight. Again, thank you if you found us on the radio, maybe the Varsity Network app, maybe you're watching us today on Facebook or YouTube or X. However you have found us, thank you for that. As I mentioned, Purdue women's basketball to talk about tonight. That's how we're going to spend our first 30 minutes or so. Mark Stevens, assistant coach for Boilermaker Women's Hoops, is going to join me. We have a lot to talk about. It was a busy week for our Purdue women, coming up with a big win in a midweek game against Maine at Mackey Arena, and then Purdue drops the Big Ten opener on Saturday against Maryland. We're going to talk to Coach Stevens about both of those games, and we're going to talk a little bit recruiting with Coach Stevens, because he is the recruiting coordinator for Purdue women's basketball. And then around about 7 o'clock or so, I'll be joined by assistant coach P.J. Thompson of the men's basketball program. He will join me for the final 30 minutes of the program as we talk Purdue men's hoop. Purdue men's, very similar to the women's basketball program, had a 1-1 week. Purdue losing at Penn State, coming back and winning Sunday against Maryland. So lots to talk about tonight, and because of that, I need to be quiet and get us to a commercial break. When we come back, Mark Stevens joins me to talk Purdue women's hoops. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
One to Swanson now. He looked at it, thought about it. Side to drive, drops it down to Bass. Bass with the finish off the glass. Bass 3 of 5 now with 7 points, leading the Boilers. Bears driving to the hoop. What a finger roll and finish. Sarah Talon. She's made 4, 5, 6, 7 trips up and down the floor here early in this one. Kick back out. And that one is good. The three-pointer from Carolyn Dotsey. This would be a huge swing of events for Maine. Under 5 seconds. Out and up. Splash to finish off the first half. Asta Blomfeld. Kick out, up, and good. Maine's hot shooting continues here in the second half.
She's much better inside the paint, just inside the arc.
Bass from downtown, good. Purdue slowing things down here in the second half, trying to get a good shot. Bass posting up again. Great defense down low by Boardman, but Bass was able to finish after the up and under.
Purdue obviously is much bigger and taller than Maine is. Then you throw in Kendall Purrier, who is not afraid to throw her body around in the paint and get some boards.
Lombard gets the catch and the finish from Ella Collier. Lombard thought about it, kicks it cross court to Swanson, who drops it down low to Bass. Bass, who finishes in the land of the bigs at the hoop off the glass.
Get your playing time cut a little bit. It definitely hurts your confidence, and you know, when you see one go down, obviously you want to see more, as that's a really nice off-ball play there from Purdue to get Destiny Lombard.
5 and 3 on the year. After dropping 2 over the weekend, they get the victory here. 60-51 is the official.
Back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We are live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and a proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says boiler up. Let's talk some Purdue women's hoops, shall we? I'm Rob Blackman. Purdue, yeah, all right. I like it. We have an enthusiastic crowd tonight. We like that. They're enthusiastic in this portion of the restaurant because, unlike the rest of us, the rest of the people in the building behind me, they're not studying for finals. That's what right. You don't have. And by the way, for those in the back of the room that can hear my voice, college students, study very hard this week, or otherwise you end up in sports broadcasting, and you do not want to be doing that. Mark Stevens, assistant coach of the Purdue women's basketball program, is joining me on the program today. Mark is both the recruiting coordinator for Purdue women's basketball and serves as an on-court assistant for our Boilermakers. First things first, Mark, let's talk about the week that you and the Boilermakers had. Wednesday, beating Maine 60-51. That game was interesting because, as you well know, in the first half, it felt like Maine couldn't miss a shot. 7 threes in the first half. It felt like every shot they were taking from beyond the arc was finding its way to the bottom of the basket. But then defensively, our Boilermakers clamped down. Only one three-point shot made by Maine in the second half. The next thing you know, you come away with a 60-51 win. Let's start with defensively. What was your team doing better in the second half to finally slow down the Bears and the way they were shooting at basketball?
I think in the second half, we just made an adjustment. They were spacing our post players out. Obviously we play with Lana McCarthy in the middle of the floor. And, I think just missing some ball screen coverages early. And then we kind of, changed our defensive ball screen coverage, and then we started basically switching everything, to give it what it was. And I think that's what helped us. Every time it's an adjustment, and I think that Coach KG made a really good job of adjusting our defensive ball coverage because, sometimes we try to protect Lana.
Sure.
Because, you want her on the floor on the offensive end, but sometimes, teams want to attack her just because she is, bigger in stature. But we did a great job. Like you said, I think we nailed down our details in the second half, and I think we were able to get stops over and over and over again.
Offensively, points were tough to come by in that game for both teams. Maine only had 51. Purdue only scored 60. Granted, we're lucky we had the 60, not the 51. But offensively, or should I say defensively, was it something Maine was doing, or why was offense so tough to find in that game on Wednesday night?
I think one of the reasons why you play teams like Maine is just because what they do offensively and what they do defensively is so unorthodox of what you would see in the Big Ten. Maine won their conference last year and came in this year projected to win it again. So what we were able to do is just continue to find ways to tinker with different ways to score. Obviously, our size being one of them. Reagan Bass played a really good game for us. Adez, some of our upperclassmen played some, solid minutes for us. And I think that's what, eventually, you just want to get a stop and a score and a stop and a score. And we were able to put those together in the second half.
Glad you mentioned Reagan Bass, 20 points in that game. Again, the team only scored 60. She had a third of those in it. You mentioned Destiny Lombard, double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. I want to circle back to something you mentioned. Again, if maybe you're just a casual fan, you don't pay close attention, you see, Maine's on the schedule, you're right, it's a non-conference foe, this should be easy. As you said, they were conference champs last year. They're predicted to win their conference this year. These are the type of teams you want to play to get you prepared for Big Ten play, yes, because this is a high-level quality opponent.
You're exactly right, and I think not just Maine. You look at Maine, obviously, not only the preseason player of the year, conference player of the year, then you look at Middle Tennessee State. They won 30 games last year, beat Tennessee, beat Louisville. Those are the teams we want to play. Obviously, yeah, we do play some Indiana States and different teams like that, but that's why we play South Carolina. That's why we play Notre Dame. When we get into the Maryland game, our kids aren't afraid. They're ready to step up and they're ready to go toe-to-toe with another number 7 team in the country because we already played 2 and 4. So.
Well, and you still have number 14 Kentucky coming this weekend. We will speak more on that in a bit. So let's fast forward to Saturday's game against Maryland. Maryland's 7th ranked in the country, beating Purdue 78-69 in what was ultimately the Big Ten opener for the Boilermakers. That game, interesting, in that almost the reverse of what happened Wednesday with Maine, at least defensively, right? You were so good defensively against Maryland in the first half. They were 2 of 17 or something like that from 3 to start the game in the first 20 minutes. But then they found some rhythm in the second half. They shot, I think, somewhere in the 63 percentile or something in the second half from shooting. That game much different, right? You were really good defensively in the first half, and then second half, Maryland got away from you a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was, Cheyenne Sellers and Bree McDaniels decided they wanted to step up and play.
They can do that.
Yeah, and I think that's, the difference between having a senior transfer-led team and then, some of our younger kids still trying to find a footing and, just learning how to be great. We talk about being consistent today in practice. We want to be consistent each possession has to matter. And I think, where they stepped up and made big shots and made big plays going down the stretch, sometimes we would have, just, brain farts basically,
yeah, right.
in inopportune times, where I think, the more and more our team continues to gel and grow, and some of our younger kids get more of experiences in those situations, I think we'll come away with stops.
Rashonda Jones, 17 points in that game, 4 in double figures for Purdue against Maryland on Saturday. Back to the schedule. Again, look, Maryland's a conference game. You have no control over that. They're 7th in the country. Kentucky's coming in 14th in the country this weekend. You've already mentioned the South Carolinas. The Worlds have already been on the schedule. With a team that has a lot of new faces, and you're trying to incorporate a whole lot of new folks, not only into the lineup, but certainly just into the rotation. We probably don't know this answer. I probably should say this. We probably don't know this answer, Mark, till the end of the season. But at least as we sit here right now, do you feel like playing high-level competition right now is probably what's best for this team?
I think it is, because sometimes when you play teams that, we don't want to use the word superior, but, the teams that you think you should get, sometimes false hope, kind of settles in.
Sure.
I think what the Maryland game shows is that we belong on the basketball floor, and I think it showed our kids that we belonged on the basketball floor. I wholly believe that if you give Coach Katie Maryland's roster, I think we win that game at 30 points. I think that's how good of a basketball coach she is, and I think that's just the growing pains that you got to go through, that you've got to suffer some of those losses to get where you want to go. Because like you said, we still got UCLA, we still got USC, we still got Ohio State, we still got, so, our kids believe that they belong on the basketball floor.
I think some would call that fool's gold, what you were talking about. You beat up on all those easy teams early in the season, and then you find out come Big Ten season, you're not quite as good as you thought you were. That will not be a problem for our Boilermakers. They have loaded up that non-conference schedule, as Mark and I have been talking about. Mark Stevens joining me, assistant coach for the Purdue women's basketball program. We are live tonight at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. This is Purdue Basketball Live. It's presented by GEMCO. It's on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Purdue ball out of the break. Lombard wide open on the 3. Got it. One finally goes down for Purdue.
Exactly. It's just a much better play.
Locked out by Poffenbarger. Now Bass driving to the left side, trying to fit through. Great move, finding the seam between the two defenders and finishing with the left hand. Shot clock. Swanson gets a screen from McCarthy. Tries to kick out to Jones, who will drive to the paint and finish with the left hand. Way off platform, but a great finish from Rashonda Jones. No shot clock. Jones will run the offense. 7 seconds left on the clock. Bass for 3. Got it! Reagan back.
She got taken out of the game within the first, a few seconds. If we get open, take some shots, they're going to fall. That hasn't happened. You see Sellers there, makes a good one, and then suddenly rushes the next one.
Bass for 3. She got it! Oh, have not seen practically all season. Stolen by Jones. On the break, Rashonda Jones. That one will fall this time. Timeout, Maryland. Reynolds on the elbow, gives to Bass. Inside McCarthy. Collier wide open for 3. She'll flush that every day of the week. Wide open on the right elbow. Now Jones, 8 on the shot clock. Jones driving all the way to the rack. Finishes and 1.
Such a huge moment there, Jones. You see the speed. Lombard did a similar run as well. Those two just handing off players.
Shot no good from McDaniel. Reynolds taking it up the floor. Gives to Lombard. Lombard penetrating and finishing with the layup. Oh, what an exciting end to the third quarter. They're down but not out.
Look, veteran leadership there by Lombard. Take it on her own. You know the pressure you have. Now the ball.
Thanks, Ellie, and we get started here in the fourth quarter. Lombard wide open 3. She's got it! Tie game, 55 apiece. Last year was a very rare, what you would call down year for Maryland basketball, as Bass will penetrate and finish with the right hand.
In the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. This is Purdue Basketball Live. Rob Blackman here with Purdue women's basketball assistant coach Mark Stevens. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. I mentioned this when we first brought Coach Stevens onto the show. He is the recruiting coordinator for Purdue women's basketball. You have an extensive background in the state of Indiana, certainly recruiting, but in central Indiana specifically, Mark. You used to be the head coach at Crispus Attucks. Am I correct on that?
Yes. I was the head women's basketball coach and athletic director when we reopened the school from a middle school to a high school.
Sure. So you have some extensive knowledge then of certainly central Indiana. From a recruiting standpoint, 6 players on our team currently, if I've counted correctly, have Indiana ties. With your Indiana background, although you are from Louisville originally, we won't hold that against you. Indiana high school girls basketball has to be the bloodline for this program, no?
I think not only for our program, but for the nation. I think, great. You look at, even the men's side of the basketball where it's played. Great players come from the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
And it's our goal to make sure that we keep the best players here. We've got 10 men's basketballs. The next closest school is the Indiana Notre Dame. They only got 4. So, we want to make sure that our kids know the best players in Indiana play at Purdue.
Right. Obviously, we can start with KG. I mean, you think about what being her Beech Grove background and what she brought to Purdue ultimately. So when you are out on the recruiting trail, safe to assume that's what you're really pushing with the Indiana kids, right? The tradition of Indiana high school players that end up playing here at Purdue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, actually in reverse order, the first person I push is Coach KG. It's really easy when you push somebody who does things the right way, who leads the right way, who does nothing but pour into our kids. And then, then you talk about Purdue and you talk about our academics. You talk about our academic excellence. We talk about, the fact that, the closeness to home, the location. And then you just talk about the way that the state of Indiana in general loves basketball. And then you talk about the way the women's game is growing. And then why not put all of those things together? Great head coach, great academics, and, being a couple hours away from home.
You also, I know, spent a lot of time working at AAU circuit, not only coaching, but literally running an entire AAU program. I would be interested, especially as now we're here in 2024, from a recruiting standpoint, if you had a pretty percentage to it, the recruiting that goes on with a high school player as opposed to an AAU player, where is that balance, and where do you personally, as a recruiting coordinator, where do you like to spend more of your time?
I definitely think that the time is starting to tip towards the club basketball scene. Just for colleges, you can see a lot more games in a day. You can go to a showcase and you can see, I think, most of the times when you're out in the summertime, you're there from 9 a.m. and you don't leave the gym till 10:15 p.m. So you're watching, 10, 12 hours worth of basketball. But personally, I just think you learn a lot from both. Obviously AAU gives you that competitiveness. You can see their athletic ability. There's a lot of clubs that still run a lot of good basketball actions. But then when you go to high school, you get a chance to see what their basketball IQ is, because now there's scouting reports. Now teams know about, other teams, where sometimes in club basketball, you're playing 3 or 4 games a day. You're just trying to survive. Sometimes, when you're getting into late summers and kids are on their 75th game, now their bodies are just fatigued. So.
Right. One final question about recruiting, because I'm always so intrigued by this. As you are out and about in all different corners now of the U.S., because I know you go to events that are spread out all over the United States, how well received is Purdue women's basketball? Is it a national? Is it a name brand that, when you show up wearing the Purdue logo on your sweatshirt or your pullover, everyone automatically, you don't have to do a whole lot of giving a background on Purdue. Everyone knows about Purdue women's basketball.
Yeah, I think that's what's great. I think that's where the direction of our program that's where it is. Being the only Big Ten team to win a national championship with having Coach Katie here. And then with their great academics, not speaking in specifics, but we've had the #1 player in the 2027 class on campus. We've had 10 of the top 50 kids in the 2025 class on campus. We've got a young lady coming in our 25 class next year that's from the Netherlands. Lana McCarthy, who's on our team right now, and is from Massachusetts. It's from Massachusetts area. Des is from down in Louisiana. So I think, the brand of Purdue. And what our people and what our community and academics provides for a young lady, there's no better place else to play women's basketball.
You're making me feel old. You're talking about 2027 recruits already. My goodness. Hey, let's just get through 2024.
Oh, we got a great one that's down the street that we'd love to keep home as well. So let's make sure we don't forget about that one.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. More with Coach Mark Stevens when we come back. This is Purdue Basketball Live on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Sends it away from behind the service line. Down to Woolard. somehow kept up and over. Again, the Boilers keep it up. Oh my goodness! What a save! Joust at the net. Purdue gets the point. One of the most ridiculous saves you will ever see. Ali Hornung saves it and the Boilers get the point.
And Hornung just shrugging her shoulders like, I don't know what I just did. What a touch. Just getting it over the tape. And this place is about to pop.
It is heating up here in Holloway.
Yeah, Hudson, 562 hitting percentage. I don't really have to have more words. That number speaks for itself. She is just such an unbelievable player.
That one sails long, and with the error, 24-11, the Purdue Boilermakers will see match point, looking for the sweep. Loyola Chicago lives to see another play as that one hits the floor, 24-12, and for the second consecutive set, they will see a second set point. Chacoin. How sweet it is! The Purdue Boilermakers finish this one off, a 25-12 set 3 victory, and they finish off a 3-set sweep and punch their ticket to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, just flat out domination from the Boilers throughout this entire match here. Unbelievable, 409 hitting percentage as a team, 44 kills, just 8 errors.
Presented by GEMCO, live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. Purdue Athletics would like to thank and recognize members of the Black and Gold Club who support Purdue Athletics through their sponsorship at the highest level. Black and Gold Club members include Indiana Packers, Purdue Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Molson Coors, Riley Children's Health, State Farm Insurance, Toyota, and Wabash. Each are great partners of Purdue Athletics. Purdue women's assistant coach Mark Stevens is my guest here for the next 5 minutes or so as we're talking Purdue women's hoops. Up next for the Boilermakers, they'll be playing this coming weekend at home against Kentucky. It's a Saturday. It's a 5 o'clock tip at Mackey Arena. Let's pack Mackey for that one because we're going to be looking at a real good ball club in Kentucky coming in ranked 14th in the country. Speaking of the state of Kentucky, Mark Stevens is a Louisville native, and he played collegiately at Morehead State. Now, when I say he played collegiately, he did not just play basketball. He played football as well, right, Mark? You were a two-sport athlete at Morehead.
I did way back in the day.
You don't have to add that part. Well, we'll never know how old or young you are. Man, that had to be tough, right? I mean, I was having some fun talking about the students. Here it is. It's on the Purdue campus. It's finals week, and so here you were. You're trying to balance academics and playing two sports. Tell me about the challenge that presented.
Yeah, it was tough. But again, when you surround yourself with good people, being down there, it was tough because also I was young in age. I used to have to sign permission slips. I was only 17 when I got ready to start playing and start traveling. So they would have to, at that time they used to have to mail and fax my mom, permission slips for me to get on the bus or get on the plane to go play games.
No way. Let me stop you there. You're freshman year. You're only 17. So you couldn't travel with a team unless a parent signed a permission slip.
Yeah.
Just like elementary school field trip.
Yeah, it was tough.
That is great.
Yeah.
That is great. Wow.
But no,
Sorry,
it was
continue.
Fun. But no, it was fun. Anytime you're trying to balance academics and athletics, and then eating properly, and you look at what we have right now at Purdue with the meal halls. We didn't have that kind of thing like that.
Sure.
But eating right and sleeping and lifting weights and running. I played for Coach Cal Macy for basketball. Actually spent the year here from Peru, Indiana, and then
right.
Coach Matt Ballard, two great men who actually got me excited about coaching. So it's nice when you play for great people.
Did you ever consider football as a coaching profession, or was it basketball all the way?
No, I actually got a football. My first college offer was actually to coach football down at Butler and then UIndy. just be running basketball, different things like that. And then, you know, it's 72 and sunny in the gym. You know,
that's right.
It's different having to
That's
stand outside and it's raining and it's snowing. But basketball,
Yes.
you know what you're built for.
Wow, that is really cool. Now, I also read, I'm going to have a little fun with you here. I also read you played professional football in an indoor professional league. Is this correct?
I did for about 8 years.
No kidding.
Yeah.
8 years of professional indoor football. Where were you at? What?
Everywhere. I was.
okay.
It was in Fort Wayne. I was in Milwaukee. Played in Indianapolis. You know, for the Firebirds. I mean, so a couple different stops in New York. So it was fun.
I'm very embarrassed to admit this. And by the way, when I say embarrassed, I actually worked for the Indiana Firebirds. I was on their broadcast team for all 4 years there in Indy, and unfortunately I didn't remember your name, so I apologize. That doesn't mean you weren't a great player, it just means my memory isn't very good. Did you know, I believe it's in Fishers. Yeah, Fishers.
They started a new one.
They started
called
a new
the
indoor
Freight.
football team. Yeah, the Fishers Freight. Thinking about maybe getting back into it?
Absolutely not. I love what I'm doing right now.
I think you'd be just fine. They'd probably be happy to have you. Saturday, 5 p.m., Mackey Arena, Purdue, Kentucky. The Wildcats are ranked 14th in the country. We want to see you at Mackey Arena on Saturday. This guy to my right wants to see you, Mark Stevens, Purdue women's basketball assistant coach. Mark, thanks for joining us, man. That was fun.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, we'll focus our attention on Purdue men's basketball assistant coach P.J. Thompson. I'm certain he's never played professional football. He will join me next. It's the Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Lawyer against the taller.
Not one to Swanson now. Look. Drops it down to Bass.
How about Smith with a block? Rising at 6 feet to reject it. And then he'll try to tie it, and he does!
Getting some contact. And Braden Smith, what a defensive play. Gets the block. He brings this thing coming off this drag ball screen and just lets it go in transition. Now, Jason Horowitz asked Kevin Willard last game against Ohio State why it looks so easy. He goes, because he's a pro.
Wow. Trey Kaufman red, count it, and the foul.
Not taking it away. You can see Julian Reese, that pivot there. Miguel's got size. Rice can really score. Harris Smith has size.
Teardrop, no. First on the other side. Yes! Tied at 48, and he'll go to the line.
The run was going to be in our laps right there.
I would have run for the exits. Lawyer scored a tough finish. And gosh, this is great action here these last 5 minutes. Little lob, and Heidi throws it down.
Well, Cam Heidi can get up with the best of them. Maryland in this 2-3 zone, and they get caught ball watching. That baseline cut is open. And not to say that Jameer Young was not talented, because he really was, but the guys around him, it's just a different deal for Maryland this year. Easily been a second chance opportunity for Maryland.
Over the top. You can't touch that.
Well, you get Derek Queen to commit. Back-to-back plays being set up by Braden Smith. Smith in total control, and you see there's the contest. You help.
3 to shoot. Left hand high off the window.
The Purdue blood clock didn't turn it over. You burned 30 seconds. Gapari so long, you got him.
They get it in the front court. Heidi all alone.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. It's time for our Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how a former Purdue student-athlete is doing in their professional sports career. Pro Boilers presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Earlier this morning, when I was putting together my notes for the Pro Boiler, I was a little concerned about the health and safety of our quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, because he's our Pro Boiler for the day. For those that watched any NFL football yesterday, and more importantly the Raiders, Aiden got hurt. It looked pretty badly yesterday, late in their game, late in the third quarter. It was a knee injury, and if you watch that game, he left the game in an air cast. So I was, this isn't looking good. But I did see today the Raiders released a note that Aiden O'Connell simply has a bruised left knee, and they do think he'll be their starting quarterback when they play on Monday night. They actually have Monday Night Football on the schedule next Monday when they play. I think they play the Falcons on Monday. So our Pro Boiler feature is good thoughts and prayers up for Aiden O'Connell, who looked like he was injured pretty good yesterday, but now we find out maybe it's not so bad, just a bruised left knee. So AOC, we hope you'll be feeling better by next Monday when it's time for you guys to play on Monday Night Football. All right, let's talk a little Purdue men's basketball, shall we? Assistant coach P.J. Thompson is joining me. Boilermakers last week go 1-1 in Big Ten competition. Purdue losing on the road at Penn State by a final score of 81-70. And then the Boilermakers bounced back yesterday with an 83-78 win against Maryland at Purdue's Mackey Arena. P.J., welcome. That's a tough Mark Stevens, that's a tough one to follow, man. Sorry about that.
No doubt.
The guy played professional indoor football, dude. That's kind of cool.
I want nothing to do with that.
I don't blame you. I don't want anything to do with that either. Hey, so look, I'm not telling anything you don't know, but we'll just let our listeners hear it. The one thing we found out with our ball club this year, we take care of the ball. We're pretty darn good. And we didn't take care of the ball Thursday night. We didn't look so good. Took care of the ball yesterday, looked really good, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I think with our group, man, they're so young. We have a couple guys with a ton of experience, but I think our guys are, quickly finding out that, one, we're everyone's, Super Bowl.
Right, yeah.
Right? Anytime
right.
you play Purdue with the success and history behind it, guys want to get the get back, right?
Yeah.
They want to win the game, so if we don't embrace the physicality of the game, if we're not detailed in our approach on both ends, and if we don't win the possession battle, take care of the ball and out-rebound them, we're going to struggle.
Yeah.
And I think that when we've done those things, we've been successful in our team. We've shown that this year.
What's amazing to me, I should say amazing, that's probably the wrong word, maybe baffling to me, and I know it's driving you coaches crazy, is it's not like Purdue has been a bad ball club at taking care of the ball all season. It's just been inconsistent. For instance, last 4 games for our fans, the last 4 games Purdue has played, the opposition came in averaging forcing 17 turnovers a game. Last 4 in a row now. NC State, Ole Miss, Penn State, Maryland, all were right in that 16.5 to 17 turnovers forced per game. A couple of those games did such a good job taking care of the ball. A couple of those games not so good. So it's not like, you can say, well, we've been consistently bad about taking care of the ball. No. Actually, it's been inconsistently bad.
Right.
Because when we've been good, we've been really good.
Yeah, I think it shows our guys, man, your approach to the game matters. Just because you took care of the ball last game, this game's different.
Yeah,
and just
right.
because you didn't take care of the ball, at Penn State doesn't mean that you can't come home and take care of the ball.
Right.
And so understanding that, every time you step on the court, you got to do the things that's going to win you the game. A lot of times from the offensive side, what I like to show is, what not to do.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
If you let people get home runs, right? If you do live ball turnovers and you're creating offense for them, well, you can't expect our defense to get stops.
Yeah.
Because when we do set our defense, we are better.
Yeah.
Right? But when we are forcing our defense to play in transition the whole game and they're playing advantage basketball, 3-on-2, 3-on-1, whatever the case may be, solid teams are going to look really, really good offensively.
Sure.
And so for us, we always talk about our defense helping our offense. Box out.
Yeah.
1 rebound, and let's get out in transition. And then be disruptive, right? Just because we don't pressure the ball like Coach Payne's teams in the past have pressured, but that doesn't mean you can't have activity on the ball. That doesn't mean you can't trace the ball. That doesn't mean you can't be in the right position. That doesn't mean you can't box out. And when you do those things, now we're able to box out and get out in transition. And with our offensive skill set, we're really good when we do so. And then we always talk about our offense helping our defense. Again, we can't throw pick sixes, right? So if we're going to turn the ball over and put our defense in that advantage, we're going to be in trouble.
Assistant Coach P.J. Thompson, my guest. We're talking Purdue men's hoops here for the final 30 minutes or so of the show. We are just a little bit after the top of the hour, so I have to pause for that station identification. So we'll pause 10 seconds for station ID. This is Boilermaker Basketball on the Purdue Radio Network.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're back.
Purdue basketball is brought to you in part by Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit union for Purdue fans. When we come back, P.J. Thompson and I continue our conversation about Purdue men's hoops. This is Boilermaker Basketball, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. And this is the Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
First half. So there, Enze short on the lob.
Good idea. Yeah, Fletcher Lawyer.
Well, Smith pushes again, up ahead to Lawyer.
Basketball's got to find Trey Kaufman-Rand's hands inside. Good pass.
And Wren gives it up, and it's first on the reverse. So some more size in there for the Boilermakers. Smith, corner jumper goes. Late clock, down to 5 to shoot, and Kaufman-Rand.
Purdue just got lucky on that possession. They have got to hit someone and come away with a defensive rebound. Just too easy for Penn State inside.
And Smith snaked in. And Heidi slides back door. Smith gives it up. C.J. Cox from the mid-range gets a nice bounce. Done checked by Smith. And Hicks never got there because C.J. Cox picked it off. Cox looking for back-to-back buckets. He's got a chance at 5 in a row individually.
Break, head up. And Purdue doing a good job of using their defense to create some offense, create some easy baskets and now they understand really what Coach Rose wants from them. They understand how hard they have to play in that press defense. They understand the continuity offensively in conference. It prepares you not only for the rest of the conference season, but it's going to prepare this Purdue team for when they get into the tournament and they have to play those non-conference games.
They try to get it back unless Purdue does something real miraculous in the final 3:20.
Coach Painter would always say, ring the bell, don't quit. And right there, Riley Burgess get to the basket, going to finish. Riley Burgess, Will Berg, C.J. Cox.
Listen, the layup, Berg scoops it up.
Good contest at the rim.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and a proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says boiler up. I'm Rob Blackman reminding you our next Purdue Basketball Live program will happen on Monday, January the 6th. We'll take a little holiday break here from the show, so we'll be back here at Walk-Ons on Monday, January the 6th. Also want to remind you, a busy morning tomorrow on campus for those that would like to meet our new football coach, Barry Odom. Coach Odom, yes, we can get a nice round of applause for that. Coach Odom is here on campus and has already gotten to work, but it's a chance for our fans to say hello to Coach Odom tomorrow at Mackey Arena, a free event. It starts at 9 a.m. at Mackey. Coach will be introduced to the Purdue fans. 8:30 is when they open the gates, or open the doors, I should say, at Mackey Arena tomorrow. Free parking if you want to park in the R lot, which is just north of the football stadium. Free parking. And Northwestern Garage, I understand, is going to have free parking too. So those who want to come to that event tomorrow, that would be cool. Meet Coach Barry Odom and meet the new face of Boilermaker football. Let's talk some more Purdue basketball. P.J. Thompson, assistant coach, is my guest. One more thing on the turnovers, then I'll stop it because I know you guys are sick of me talking about this. Purdue yesterday had single digits in turnovers, 8 total, which now means the last 37 games that Purdue has had single-digit turnovers, they're 35-2. So that's how important the turnover game is to Purdue basketball. All right, now, with that, PJ, looked up a couple of things from last year, and I know our team looks different, but last year's team averaged 82 points a game. Last year's team finished 4th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. Last year's team was 2nd in the country in three-point shooting percentage. Of those 3 numbers I just gave you, points per game, offensive efficiency, three-point shooting percentage, this year's team, which of those 3 numbers does this year's team maybe have the best chance of reaching?
I would say probably 3-point shooting.
Sure.
I think with our smaller lineup, the floor is a little bit better balanced. Mm-hmm. Trey Kaufman has more space to operate. I thought last year, I think he's improved. He's gotten better. I think his body's improved. But a lot of that, too, is people have to understand, like, you can't run plays for everybody. Yeah. It's not an equal opportunity sport.
Yes.
So when you have Zach Edey, you got Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Mason Gillis is a specialist. When he plays his 20 minutes, you got to put him in advantage situations to be able to shoot the ball. Lance Jones didn't run anything for him, and I believe he was our 3rd leading scorer.
Yeah, yes.
It's tough with Trey, and now he gets the ball a lot, as he should. and our team's better because of it. And I think we can get him the ball more. And that doesn't mean just coming down, throwing him the ball in the post. We do it a lot through pick and rolls. And he's so versatile. You can switch with him. You can hedge. You can be in drop coverage. His game is fitting for it all. Whereas Zach last year, like if you hedge Zach, he would just roll to the rim. Well, Trey Kaufman's great in that short roll area. And so getting back to the point about the shooting, it forces people to put 2 people on him or 2 people on Braden. And Cam Heidi, Miles Colvin, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer. Jakari's a better shooter than his numbers show. He's going to make shots. It's hard. You're a freshman. You're playing inconsistent minutes.
Yeah.
I shot 27-ish% my career. Or sorry, not my career. My freshman year, and I ended up shooting 40 for my career because I played more. Right. You understand the flow of the game. So he's going through a bit of that. I think CJ will be able to make shots as well. So I think our 3-point shooting will be something that can be similar.
That's probably a pretty good guess because at least going into yesterday's game, Purdue is 8th in the country in 3-point shooting percentage. So finished the season 2nd last year, currently 8th, and you're right, those numbers could improve. Man, the 3-point shooting in the second half yesterday against Maryland was lights out. Now, a lot of that was Braden Smith, obviously, but was there anything done from an offensive standpoint? And for those who don't know, fans, PJ is the offensive coordinator for Purdue basketball. Any adjustments made in the second half that allowed more open 3-point shots, or was it just a matter of making them?
To be honest, I talk about it all the time. Like, when I was a player, I never went into a game with Purdue, and I didn't feel like I was prepared, because of our staff. I always felt like we had high-level coaches that did a great job of preparing us to play. Obviously, being on the coaching side, you try to take a lot of what you learned and help prepare. I always tell our guys it's hard we can schematically make adjustments, but you got to do your job. I think in our 2 losses against Marquette, we didn't do our job. I think against Penn State on the road, we didn't do our job. So I told our coaches at half, I said, we can run motion, we can run sets, we can do whatever. We're not executing against their press. We're not executing against the half court. We're not doing what we're supposed to do.
Sure.
And so there was no adjustment to be made. You had to be better in what we do. I thought last game against Maryland in the first half, I thought we missed open shots. I thought we missed open layups.
Yes.
I thought we missed open shots. But we took care of the basketball and we generated good shots. So it was more about staying process oriented. You get your shot, take it. Don't be hesitant. Continue to attack. It wasn't a lot of schematic adjustments that needed to be made because I thought we were getting what we needed to get. I thought what we did adjust was we played with more fire. I thought we competed better. We were a little tougher in the second half, and maybe that equated to us getting more open looks or not. I don't know. But our energy level picked up, and so did our production.
It certainly did. That second half Purdue put on yesterday against Maryland, that was one for the ages. That was fun to watch. We are live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there is validated parking. Kids eat free on Tuesdays. Back in a moment with more from PJ Thompson. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Sends it away from behind the service line. Down to Woolard. Somehow kept up and over. Again, the Boilers keep it up. Oh my goodness! What a save! Joust at the net. Purdue gets the point. One of the most ridiculous saves you will ever see. Ali Hornung saves it and the Boilers get the point.
And Hornung just shrugging her shoulders like, I don't know what I just did. What a touch. Just getting it over the tape. And this place is about to pop.
It is heating up here in Holloway.
Yeah, Hudson, 562 hitting percentage. I don't really have to have more words. That number speaks for itself. She is just such an unbelievable player.
That one sails long, and with the error, 24-11, the Purdue Boilermakers will see match point, looking for the sweep. Loyola Chicago lives to see another play as that one hits the floor, 24-12, and for the second consecutive set, they will see a second set point. Chacoin. How sweet it is! The Purdue Boilermakers finish this one off, a 25-12 set 3 victory, and they finish off a 3-set sweep and punch their ticket to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, just flat out domination from the Boilers throughout this entire match here. Unbelievable, 409.
The 2024-25 Purdue basketball season presented by Purdue Global. Earn a degree you'll be proud of with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults, and the preferred online university degree provider of the Guild and Team USA Learning Network. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. I'm Rob Blackman. My special guest tonight, PJ Thompson from the Purdue men's basketball staff, as we're talking Purdue men's basketball. Thanks to Mark Stevens, who joined me earlier in the show, talking Purdue women's hoops. Busy time of year for basketball, obviously, and we're happy that you made a few minutes out of your day to join us here to talk some Purdue basketball with us. Quick reminder, congratulations, Dave Shondell and the volleyball Boilermakers off to the Sweet 16 yet again. Yeah, they'll be in Louisville Thursday night playing Louisville. That game probably start anywhere between 9 and 9:30 on Thursday night. Florida-Stanford is the first game. So depending on how long, obviously, that match takes, then it's Purdue and Louisville in the nightcap. And again, 9 to 9:30. Those games are being played in Freedom Hall. The great irony is Louisville is also hosting the Final Four, but those games will be played in the Yum Center. So here's what I think, Coach Shondell, if you're listening. Just go ahead and win these couple matches in Freedom Hall on Thursday and Saturday, and then just stay down in Louisville. Just spend the whole week there, and then show up at the Yum Center for the Final Four the next weekend. That's just my advice to you. Not that he needs any advice from me. PJ, calling the offense this year as opposed to last year when you had the National Player of the Year in Zach Edey. How different has it been for you?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot different, but it's been different in a good way because I thought our group last year was such a veteran group. It was more managing. You know, as a basketball player, you always want more. And so, you know, Mason Gillis, you're going into your last year at Purdue, you know, he wants more. Well, it's getting him to be functional in what we need him to do to get to a Final Four national championship. It's helping our young backcourt take that next step. We played a little different. Zach still got his post touches, but we did it more out of ball screens. So it's talking to Zach, having that relationship, communicating with him, trying to get him to understand like you're gonna get your same production, if not more. We need to get the ball in Braden Smith's hands more because he's that good with the basketball, and it'll be able to help others out. And then we're still gonna get you your post touches, but we got to move 5X and we got to make him have to guard the pick and roll before we just sit there and post you up. So it was more about just trying to manage those guys. This year's a lot more teaching, which is fun. That's why you coach. You're teaching young guys everything, you know, and we're trying to also help young guys from the mental standpoint. Like I want to shout out Miles Colvin just because he's so young, man. Like Miles is 19 years old. He's young for his age. I've seen basketball for so long. Like it takes, you see 27, 28-year-olds play basketball and they still play through their offense. Like Miles has learned to affect the game outside of sitting there and making an open three-pointer. Yeah. And when you can get kids to do that, like that's everything. Like he's offensive rebounding. He's becoming a better passer. He's becoming a better defender. You know, he's communicating more. Like the emotion he showed after the Alabama game, jumping onto the little stanchion, like he's starting to grow and mature, and you're seeing that throughout our whole group, and that's kind of what makes this group fun to be around and coach.
Sure. Well, what about this? I was talking to Coach Stevens earlier about the women's basketball schedule, how unkind it has been. We can say the same for the men's. Look, coming up Saturday in Indianapolis, you have the 17th ranked team in the country in Texas A&M, and then the following weekend in Birmingham, the 2nd ranked team in the country in Auburn. I mean, you guys have had some really, you know, we've already played Alabama, who was 2nd in the country at the time. Marquette, top 10 team. It has been a challenging non-conference.
Yeah, no, it's great. You know, Elliot Bloom, obviously, he's a vet. He's one of the best in the country, if not the best at what he does. Between him and Coach Painter getting us prepared to help win a Big Ten championship, help get to a Final Four. That's why you play a tough schedule. You want to stack quad one wins, but you also want to learn, right? When we win, we don't just sit and celebrate, right? We watch the film. We probably dissect it more when you win, because while you win, Coach always talks about, like, you still got to get better, right? And when we lose, we do the same thing. You dissect the game, and you get better. Like, when we were on the bench at Penn State, I asked him and Bloom, yo, what's today's date again? Like, I think it's the 6th or 7th. Like, it doesn't matter, right? We got to get better regardless, right? So this loss isn't going to make or break our season, but it's still trying to keep perspective, right?
Sure.
Just because we beat Alabama doesn't mean we won a championship, right? We won a game. So when you win or lose your game this early in the season, your goal is to learn. But us doing it against the opponents you got to see and beat to get to a Final Four national championship, like, that's why you do it.
Thursday was December the 5th, by the way.
The 5th.
Just in case you may not have known. Yeah. Well, look, you're talking about playing top competition, non-conference. Here's what the AP Top 25 looks like this week. Purdue, 11th, highest-ranking Big Ten team. But then there's Oregon, who just suffered their first loss of the year yesterday. They're ranked 12th. Michigan's 14th. Boy, what a job they're doing under their Dusty May as their first-year head coach. Wisconsin's 20th, Michigan State's 21st, UCLA's 24th. All teams we still have to play. Welcome to the life of Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, it was cool. It was an off day today, but, we all were actually working out, surprisingly. Our staff doesn't get much workouts in, but we were all working out. We were in the locker room, man, before I came over, and we were just talking about how much how good Derek Queen was, like how talented these freshmen are in college basketball, how talented these freshmen are in the Big Ten. People talk on Twitter all the time about the Big Ten's down. Like, I don't think so. Like, it's a lot of really good teams in the Big Ten, and it's such a tough league. One thing about winning in the league is you got to be the tougher, more disciplined team. And so we try to preach that to our guys now, and understanding, like, how hard it is to win on the road. Like, it's so hard to win on the road no matter where you are. Because, again, when you have the history and success Purdue's had under Coach Painter, you're everybody's championship game. Yeah. I don't know how many court storms I've been a part of since I've been at Purdue as a player or coach, but it's been quite a few.
A lot of them. Yeah, you're right. And I'll leave you with this. Purdue, the success that this program has had the last couple of years, we are now everyone's red circle on the calendar. We saw what happened to Penn State. Everybody wants to beat Purdue, and that's a good problem to have. PJ, thanks, man. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
PJ Thompson, assistant coach, Purdue men's basketball. One final segment to go of Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Lawyer against the taller Queen, puts it over his head. Down to a three-point game. How about Smith with a block? Rising at 6 feet to reject it. And then he'll try to tie it, and he does!
Getting some contact. And Braden Smith, what a defensive play. Gets the block. He brings this thing coming off this drag ball screen and just lets it go in transit. Now, Jason Horowitz asked Kevin Willard last game against Ohio State why it looks so easy. He goes, because he's a pro.
Wow. Trey Kaufman ran, counted, and the foul.
Not taking it away. You can see Julian Reese, that pivot there. Miguel's got size. Rice can really score. Harris Smith has size.
Teardrop, no. First on the other side. Yes! Tied at 48, and he'll go to the line.
The run was going to be in our laps right there.
I would have run for the exit. Lawyer scored a tough finish. Gosh, this is great action here these last 5 minutes. Little lob, and Heidi throws it down.
Well, Cam Heidi can get up with the best of them. Maryland in this 2-3 zone, and they get caught ball watching. That baseline cut is open. And not to say that Jameer Young was not talented, because he really was, but the guys around him, it's just a different deal for Maryland this year. Easily been a second chance opportunity for Maryland.
Over the top. You can't touch that.
Well, you get Derek Queen to commit. Back-to-back plays being set up by Braden Smith. Smith in total control, and you see there's the contest. You help.
3 to shoot. Left hand high off the window.
The Purdue blood clock didn't turn it over. You burn 30 seconds. Gapari so long, you got him.
They get it in the front court. Heidi all alone.
Purdue Basketball Live tonight from Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. This reminder, our next broadcast of this particular program will not be until January the 6th. So because of that, I don't make the calendar, fans. Quit booing me. We'll say Merry Christmas. We'll say Happy New Year. We'll say Happy Holidays because I won't see you again until January 6th. So let me get that out of the way. Let's get to our nugget here for this evening, shall we, before we say goodbye? Actually, our nugget, our final one to take us into the new year, was inspired by audio engineer Wes Scott. And he doesn't even know it. When Wes was breaking down the equipment yesterday, he said to me something to the effect of, man, we don't play another home game for 3 weeks. Which is true. We won't play another home game till the 29th of December against Toledo. He said, when's the last time we would have had that long of a period between home games? So, the light bulb went off. I thought, ooh, that's going to be my nugget. So here you go, fans. It rarely happens that we go a full 3 weeks, 21 days between home games. It's never happened under head coach Matt Painter, ever. We've never waited that long. And last time this happened, you have to go back to the 1998-99 season. Coach Gene Cady, the coach, when we went an entire month between home games. Here's how it happened. December the 12th, we played LaSalle, Mackey Arena in the Boilermaker Invitational. We didn't play again in Mackey until January the 13th in a home game against Illinois. In between, we went to Indianapolis for the Boilermaker Blockbuster against Butler. We went to East Rutherford, New Jersey for the Jimmy V Classic to play South Carolina. While we were out there, we went ahead and played Providence, gave them a home game because why not? You were already out east. Then we went to Penn State to start Big Ten play, and then went to Wisconsin, and then finally came back to Mackey Arena. So you have to go back that far, 1998-99 season, the last time Purdue took this amount of time between home games, a full month back then for trips to Mackey Arena. This time it will only be 3 weeks, but it will be December 29th against Toledo. We are playing Saturday, however, in Indianapolis. I hope you join us there for the Indy Sports Classic. Purdue, Texas A&M, number 11 versus number 17. Wes will be there. I'll be there. Bobby Riddell will be there. 12 noon for the tip-off, 11 a.m. for the broadcast. We hope to talk to you then. If I don't talk to you again until January 6th, have a great New Year, everyone. See ya.